Hey guys, I'm here with Miles Kirby. Today at our Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, he tied for first place. So Miles, what are you running?
Breaking out the old Pendulum Magicians today.
Why that?
Because I'm really sick of playing Flunderies, and I'm really sick of this format, and I'm really sick of the tier 1 decks. And I also don't have $1 million to spend, so.
All right, show us the deck.
All right, so had to bust this out from way back in the day. I'm starting off with 3 Wisdom Eye Magician. I mean, this is mandatory for the deck. If you know Pendulum, you know you have to play 3. It's dumb that this card isn't once per turn, but I mean, that's the only reason that the deck still functions. 3 Harmonizing, another bread and butter card, another stupidly good card. I don't know why Konami decided that even after they already made a bunch of broken non-once per turn Pendulum cards, they'd give them their own multi-faker on their own turn. Special summons from deck, it's insane. It's always the card you add back off Oath Dragon. If you don't, you're kind of losing. 3 Double Iris. Honestly, so I'm really glad it's back at 3 for consistency's sake. It actually sucks though sometimes because I've had times where you resolve 2 and then the third one's just dead. It's just a brick. Because you only run one of each of the Pendulum graphs, spoiler alert. But other than that, like, I'm really glad that it's back at 3. Oath Dragon at 3. You used to not run 3, now you have to run 3. At least until we get other cards off the list, which hopefully we will be soon. Then you run one of the Purple Poison, one of the Black Fang, and one of the White Wing to go with the Double Iris. So in like older builds of Pendulum, you used to run multiples of either of these, and you usually wouldn't play this. Only reason you play this now is because we have Chrono at 3 and Astro at 1. So if you start with the Chrono in hand, then you'll summon this off the Harmonizing, so you can make Savage Dragon as well, going first. And other than that, yeah, you barely ever resolve Black Fang. It's just there for like 1 in a million games. Barely ever resolve Purple Poison anymore. It's just there for like 1 in a million games. But I think you still have to include them. 3 Skull Crobat. I mean, obviously you need 3. It's your Stratos for the deck. It's like the only card you'll ever be normal summoning, at least if you want to win. Really good card. Wish we could play more than 3. And then the 1 Monkey Board to go with that. Really glad that they gave this back to us. Honestly, if it was at 3, I'm not even sure that we would run it at 3 in the current Pendulum build. You kind of need to summon Beyond the Pendulum before you Pendulum Summon if you play this card, because Beyond the Pendulum negates its Pendulum Scale effect, which makes it a 4. If you don't, you're kind of screwed. So Monkey Board being at 1, it's really, really good when you see it. You have to have a cracked hand kind of to resolve it. If you don't, it's kind of a tough spot. 3 Chronograph, you have to run 3 right now. It's your level 6, it's your extender, it's insane. This is like, if you're open and you don't open Pendulum Call, but you open other good cards, like, I mean, you're popping off with Chronograph. And then the 1 Astrograph, because they won't give us back this to more than 1. If they ever want to bring Electromite off the list, they're never giving this back at more than 1. But I mean, we can always dream, right? 3 Curtain Raiser, have to play 3. Another way to get into Beyond the Pendulum, which is like the new Electromite. This is such a good card to start off your turn with. It makes your Duelist Alliance live. It gives you a way to out cards that are problematic, like El Shadal Winda. Basically any Floodgate or negate that your opponent has that's less than 2200 attack. You can start off your turn with this, attack over it, which is an effect that a lot of people forget. And then just pop off from there. So yeah, you have to play it at 3. Wish it was searchable, but it's not. Double Celestial. So honestly, I've seen some people run 3. I've seen some people run 1. I feel like 2 is the correct amount for this right now. I could see us running 3 in the future, but honestly, for right now, like, you only ever resolve it if your hand is kind of insane. The Pendulum Scale effect, at least. And the on-field effect, I mean, it's an okay normal summon. Honestly though, like, I mean, I think it's like you have to run it, it's essential, but I definitely don't want to see it, you know, more than once, or more than 1 per hand, so that's why I cut it down to 2. Dragon Pit, honestly, I wouldn't run this card if you have money and you want to play Pendulums. I'm only running this because I can't afford Prosperities. I'm waiting for those tins in a few days, so as soon as we get those, I'm gonna cut this, put in Prosperities, add up the consistency, and yeah, we'll be cruising from there. Double Tuning, you can't play 1 because if you draw it, then your Hulk is dead, your entire line is dead. but it really sucks to see in multiples. I opened 2 earlier today, and I lost that game, and it's just, I mean, it's really not a great card to see in multiples. But yeah, you have to run more than one, but it's really, you don't want to see more than one. One Scythe, obviously for the Scythe lock. It's really the only way that this deck is still able to win nowadays. Then on to spells. 3 Duelist Alliance. I mean, you have to play 3, it's self-explanatory, it's your searcher. 3 Pen Call. So I've seen some lists run 2, some lists run 1. I feel like 3 right now. 1, I don't own Prosperity. If I did, I'd be playing Prosperity instead of 3 this. But 2, I mean, 3 really isn't bad. Like, if you have a bad hand, this literally just makes sure that you'll get either a Scythe Lock or an Oppo plus a couple of other interruptions on the field. So Pendulum Call conflicts with a lot of the cards in your deck, but you have to run it. Star and then Time. Obviously self-explanatory, you have to run these for double Iris. Star used to be insane back in the day. I think Star and Time used to be like pretty equally valuable back in the day. Now Time is pulled ahead a lot. Time is your way to stop your opponent from stopping your Scythe Lock. Like, this ensures your Scythe Lock goes through if you have it. This, I mean, even just powerful by itself if you're not Scythe Locking. Popping one and then sending one non-targeting is still insane nowadays. I mean, out, you know, every Dragoon and non-targeting monster that you need to out, any big monsters you need to out. Time Pendulum Graph is insane. It interrupts your opponent's combos, lets you play around stuff like Droplet. It's just a really necessary card you have to play. So that's it for the main deck. 40 cards. Yeah, I mean, I really wouldn't change much for the main deck. I don't think you can change much yet. I'm excited for the new Pendulum cards to come out in the future. We're gonna get some new Draco Slayer support, so it's not gonna be a Pendulum Magician deck, but I like playing Pendulums in general. Extra deck, you have to run 1 Beyond the Pendulum. I mean, you need it now, especially since we don't have Electromite. It's your card that you go into that makes sure that you have every piece in hand that you need to combo off before you Pendulum Summon. 1 Artemis for the Tuning Magician. 1 Dagda for the Scythe Lock. 1 Dark because it's like the best Charmer right now. Also, it's like the best, easiest one to make in your deck. If you're going second, this card's insane. Hulk for the Scythe Lock. Selene to go into Access Code or Appaloosa. So you use this to go into Appaloosa going first. You use this to go into Access Code going second. I mean, yeah, you need Selene to play this deck. TG Wonder Magician for the Scythe Lock. Baron because the card's insane. Savage Dragon because it's also a really good card. Draco Berserker because I actually saw this in a list online. I don't remember who made it. I wish I did. But yeah, they were saying that like this card's actually like a decent Synchro 8 to run if you need to run another extra deck spot, Synchro 8. And I actually made it a few times today. It really did good against Punk Therian because he activated what is it? He activated Ogre Dance in hand after I already like stopped a bunch of his other stuff with my negates. He activated Ogre Dance in hand. So he tributed his Xiamen for cost. He was already under Scythe. And then you banish this, and they literally have nothing else that they can do. I mean, that he just scooped right there. Time Star, you have to play this. You'll play this till the end of time as long as you're playing Pendulum Magician. No pun intended. Baguska, because you sit on this and then you win if you're in a bad spot. And then Abyss Dweller, because this stops like tier. If you want any chance against the meta, you have to play this. So that's it for extra deck. As for side deck, really not refined. I built this side deck a lot more for like a meta relevant, super competitive scene. But that's not really what the club is like. There's a lot of decks that aren't super like meta relevant or super tier 1. So I barely use the side deck. The card I sided in the most was 3 Nib. Didn't see it once. Problem with Pendulums is that you can't really, like, it's really, really tight extra deck or side deck and main deck space. So you can't take almost anything out since your whole deck is combo pieces. So siding is a pain in Pendulum Magician, and it really, really sucks. I wish that we were able to side easier, but yeah, 3 Nib. Use this against combo decks. I mean, Math Mech, if you use this and they're not being careful, they lose. Use this against Exo Sisters. If they're not being careful, they lose. Yeah, I mean, it's self-explanatory. 3 Dark Ruler. This is more for like the Sprite if you run into that. Basically any deck that puts up like an unbreakable board, this breaks the unbreakable board. Lava Golem, I mean, again, for like Sprite, for Math Mech, for anything else in the game that you need to, just stop them from playing out their board. You don't really need your normal summon a lot in this deck, so Lava Golem's not really that big of an issue. It's also not hard to out. Mystical Space Typhoon, literally for like Mystic Mine, that kind of thing. So I ran it as opposed to like Twin Twisters because you don't want to be discarding that much in this deck. Cosmic Cyclone, you don't want to lose in time. You will be comboing forever in this deck, so you go to time a lot. So I decided to run 3 MST instead. It's crazy that it's 2022 and we're back to running MST, but I mean, and as long as Mystic Mine's a card, you'll have to run it. And then 3 a pointer. Because if you go first in game 3 and you have time left, you set this against Sprite and most of the time you'll win. So, I mean, that's pretty much my deck list.
All right, do you have any shout outs?
Yeah, shout out to all the guys, shout out to Ethan Havlin, shout out to Gal Yosef, shout out to Drew Hubble, shout out to Grant behind the camera, shout out to the whole MSU Yu-Gi-Oh club. If you're on campus in East Lansing, come out every Monday night, support, hang out, play some Yu-Gi-Oh, do some trades, just have a good time. I mean, we're super excited to keep going with the semester. We hope to do more videos. We hope to eventually live stream feature matches. We got a bunch of stuff in the works. So, yeah, shout outs to everyone. And that's it.
All right, cool. Thank you, Miles.
Yeah, thank you.